So there it is. I rented out my G-Wagon on Turo, and I got the news that someone totaled it. Check it out. So what exactly happened? What's going on, guys? It's Ricky. Let's go ahead and just jump right into it. So I wanted to make this video so I can kind of like share the process. I know some people have maybe thought about renting on Turo, but obviously, you know, there's the risk of someone damaging your vehicle. And I think I can use myself as an example because it's not just a normal vehicle. I mean, not really, right? It's a luxury SUV. I bought the vehicle originally for $180,000 and now it's totaled, right? At the end of the day, it's a vehicle, it's insured. I didn't get emotionally attached to it. It's a vehicle that I didn't need, which is why I had it rented out on Turo. I mean, this is the only vehicle that I have on Turo. Years ago, I don't know if you guys remember back to the OG days, like I think right after they transitioned out of being called relay rides, Turo launched, I think it was in 2016 to 2017, but I had a 2012 Nissan GTR and I made videos for Turo back then. I've obviously never had an accident, and one thing that I wanted to do is to get someone else's experience. If they actually pay out, if they, you know, try to prolong the process, was my biggest concern. So I'm going to share with you the steps that I took when I came to find out that my G-Wagon was totaled. This day, which was just a few days ago, this day was the first time that I actually got to see my G-Wagon in person since it got totaled. When I heard of the accident, supposedly the accident happened at 2 in the morning. I'll talk a little bit more about the details of the accident. I'm just going to call him Crypto Bro. I let Crypto Bro rent the G-Wagon AMG G63 through Turo. Crypto Bro crashed it. He apologized. Of course, Crypto Bros can't have anything too nice before they damage it. So that's all jokes. Nonetheless, it's been about a week and a half. And the reason I wanted to share this is because once I do get the settlement, and as long as everything goes well, or even if it goes wrong, I want to share kind of like the process of this, because I know, again, it's very nice to hear success stories about Turo and renting out a vehicle. People message me about it all the time because I have shared it on my Instagram before that I rent out my G-Wagon. I don't promote the renting on my Instagram. I've just shared it where, you know, this most recent month made the most amount of money, including with Turo rentals and off-platform rentals. I was making about $5,400, but there were some pretty big renters during that time. Obviously, it came to an end with this. I don't plan to necessarily rent again, but I'm not completely against it. Now, what was the process of figuring out, you know, how to file a report? So first off, kind of like a quick little story time. I didn't know my vehicle was totaled. So my vehicle was actually supposed to be returned at 4 p.m. And I believe it was a Sunday. And I messaged the guy multiple times and he wasn't getting back to me. I checked the tracker, as I have multiple trackers on the vehicle, and then all of a sudden it went dark. It didn't say that it got disconnected. This is the part that really pissed me off. And it's a very popular tracker, but it just said that it lost signal at like 2:48 a.m. And I was like, it lost signal on an on-ramp going north in Arizona. I was like, normally if it were to get stolen, I'm just assuming, right, they would want to go south on Arizona, right, kind of going to Mexico or something. But no, that was not the case. It just went dark and I was like, man, there's no way that this guy just stole it from me, right? I didn't want to give it a chance. As soon as 4 o'clock came out, there was multiple messages, so multiple chances. There's one that he also saw. It said red through the Turo application, but he didn't respond. I sent him like 2 or 3 more. He didn't respond. I waited 30 minutes after the time that he was supposed to be back, and then I started to file a police report. I didn't want, the biggest thing is like I can either overreact and there be nothing about it, and then I just cancel the police report and the report through Turo, or I don't react. It's past the 24-hour window because I'm trying to be lenient for this guy, and then now Turo isn't going to help me, right? Again, I had no idea that my vehicle was totaled. I just knew that the guy wasn't getting back to me. He read a message and my vehicle's not back when it was supposed to. So I went ahead and I was in the process of actually filling out the report. there was a number on the actual application. It was actually much more simple than I thought. I just gave, I made contact with Turo, which was my biggest thing, because I know that if I end up getting my attorney involved, there needs to be intention, in place, where it wasn't because I was lenient that now Turo can kind of be like, well, you didn't reach out to us. Is I wanted to make sure that Turo knew that I was concerned about my vehicle as soon as it wasn't returned. So Turo got back to me and said, okay, we're going to give it 24 hours. And if they don't get back to you, then we're going to move forward and report it as lost and stolen and go from there. So at least my intention was there. Fast forward 30, 45 minutes, I finally get a message like, hey man, I thought Turo would have told you, but I filed the claim. The car, I got in an accident. I got told, like, it's totaled. He's like, oh, it's really bad. Right off the bat, I'm like, I'm not concerned about the vehicle being stolen anymore, right? I'm also like, okay, well, I have insurance. I also have Turo insurance. And we'll get into the whole insurance plan, because Turo offers like a 60-40, 70-30, an 80-20, and then a 90-10. I had the 90-10 set up. So obviously I wanted to keep most of my revenue, but obviously there's a higher deductible. But again, this is a really expensive vehicle, so the deductible wasn't much of my concern. It was more of like trying to keep as much of the income. Now, again, we can do the numbers at the end of this if it was worth it or not. Nonetheless, I knew Turo's insurance was going to be the one that covered it. With that being said, my focus was no longer about the vehicle. It was about, hey, were you hurt? Was anyone else hurt? And that's all my messages really consisted of. He kept apologizing, like, dude, it's really bad. I'm sorry. The vehicle's done. And I was like, hey, was there anyone in the vehicle with you? Did you hit anyone else? And it was no. And I was like, how are you? And he was like, no, I'm fine. And I was like, okay. I was like, at the end of the day, like, and I'm very fortunate to be able to say this, but like, again, I don't need the vehicle. That's why I rent it out. I have 4 vehicles at my house, and this one I rarely ever drove it. And I was like, okay, cool. If I can like kind of cash flow off of it, great. And it kind of pays for itself and then some, right? And I knew I had insurance. I knew Turo. It was under the Turo insurance policy. And I knew that it was going to get covered. So there's no reason to like make him feel worse. So I was like, I'm glad that you're okay. I'll let you, I'll keep you up to date with the process of filing a claim through Turo, right? Because I mean, he also pays to be covered through Turo to some degree. It depends on what policy it is that he has when you're renting. That's the whole point, that like you either accept or deny to either use your insurance or pay an additional fee, and you use Turo's insurance. That's the whole thing through the Turo application, to my understanding. So he was pretty concerned. I told him, I was like, no, I'm not mad at all. I was like, I'm just glad that you're okay and no one else was hurt. And I moved forward with Turo, and he didn't have any pictures for me. So I was still left in the dark of, I didn't know if the car was caved in or if it was just a little fender bender, in the sense of like he just ran into like a little wall or something. He told me that he thinks that it's totaled, and I got all the information I could from him so then I can move forward with Turo. That was the first thing. So then now I go and call Turo back once again. I tell him, hey, he finally reached out to me. It's not stolen. He got in a car accident. He says he's already reached out to you. He's like, oh yeah, we do see that in our records. I was like, why didn't you guys tell me? Like, why am I filing a police report if you guys knew that it was an accident? That's besides the point. We get into it. I give them all the information that they didn't have of where the G-Wagon got towed to. Because I was told that it was a total loss. And I know when I quickly looked into it, they have a total loss department. The representative over the phone said, hey, we're going to check out the vehicle, and within 24 hours, we should be able to decide with the total loss team if they're going to move forward with it and, pretty much report it as a total loss. Within 24 hours, they didn't get back to me. This is the biggest thing, is I had to get back to them. And then they started contacting me over email. This is the part that I think is most important. Is I'm sure for the average person, they will allow these like large companies to kind of like prolong the process by telling them, oh, it's going to take this amount. I made it very clear. So I called again within 24 hours, like, oh, wait, we don't actually see the report. We're still waiting to hear back. And I made it very clear. Again, I don't like to like pretend. I'm not here to waste their time, but I'm definitely not here to waste mine. I told them, I was like, I will get my attorney involved if you guys continue to prolong this process. And I was like, I'm not here to mess around. I was like, I'm not asking for anything else. I just want to be paid what my car is worth and moved forward. That's all, right? I had a set amount of rentals planned out for this vehicle. Now I'm missing out on it. I just explained to them that I'm not here to get compensated for that. But again, I'm out X amount because of what my vehicle is worth. I don't have my vehicle. Just pay me and let's move forward, right? I was like, what's the timeline? They're like, okay, well, it's about 7 business days for once we get the vehicle, which does take time to transfer. And again, I need to understand their timeline and respect it as well. So they took it from the tow yard, they took it to insurance, auto auctions. It's going to take some time there. Then they get what the total loss or what the market value is, if it is reported as a total loss. And then they give me, or they make me an offer for the settlement. And that's what I'm waiting to hear back. So supposedly on Monday or Tuesday, I'm still waiting to hear back. And this is the part that I'm really excited to kind of share with you guys. Are they going to lowball me? Am I going to have to get my attorney involved? Or do they make it more difficult for me? But I think the biggest thing that I had to make very clear is how proactive I was going to be during this process. Now, maybe if I had a full-time job, full-time normal job, I wouldn't be as involved. But the biggest thing is, like, you are working with these large companies. You just have to let them know that, they're not going to dangle you around, right? And that's always the thing that I've heard worst about insurance companies. So that's what I wanted to avoid. I wasn't here to make, threats. I was just here to make sure that, hey, don't waste my time. I won't waste yours. And the process has been okay so far. I have had to not only email the person back and ask for updates, but I will spam them with calls until they actually answer. Because they'll try to forward you to voicemail. I don't care. I will call until you pick up, because I know that with the extension that you gave me, it is your direct line. And at the end of the day, at least for me, it's an expensive vehicle. At the end of the day, MSRP, these vehicles were going for over $200,000. What it is that I paid for it, $180,000. We're talking about, a 6-figure vehicle. To me, it's important. And I want to make sure that I get kept up to date, and that the reason that it's prolonged or they don't end up trying to pay me out is because we hit a period of time that, wasn't as attentive as I needed to be. I just don't want there to be any excuse. So it's been a good process so far. I'll let you guys know, and I'll follow up with another video on what I later end up learning, if they end up paying out, if I thought that the settlement was fair, or if I end up having to get my attorney involved. But I want to show you guys some of the pictures so far. Obviously, it's still an open case, so I'm not going to talk about numbers or anything like that. But as you guys can see on the driver's side, airbags fully deployed. There's something that happened here. I don't know if a phone flew up to the window, but it looks like it's fully cracked. You guys can see that obviously there's frame damage there. This entire thing is snapped, which obviously just shows how heavy the impact was. And yeah, I mean, it's crazy because this is a very durable vehicle. It's one of the main reasons that I bought it. It's a very safe vehicle. It's over 6,000 pounds. And it's it's a strong vehicle. So I could only imagine that if it was any other vehicle, it would have gotten absolutely destroyed, which is, why I specifically wanted something like a G-Wagon, because it was like my dad vehicle. But now I have the Tesla Cybertruck. So again, I don't need the G-Wagon as much. So yeah, just wanted to keep you guys up to date. Again, I wasn't involved in the accident. It was just my vehicle. I rented out to what we're calling a crypto bro. And of course, crypto bros can't have anything nice for too long before they end up ruining it. That's just the joke. Again, I'll make sure I do my part in keeping you guys up to date. Just wanted to share my story, and I guess we'll see you guys on the next one. I'll see you for our Sunday stock talk later today. Hope that thumbs up. Please consider subscribing, and like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team.